Hello, everybody. This video is about the fourth scene of the third act of the play Hamlet. Act 3, Scene 4 of Hamlet is more focused on one dramatic encounter than most of the play's other scenes. All play long, we have probably been wondering about Gertrude. Is she aware of, and maybe even a co-conspirator in, Claudius's murder of Hamlet's dad? Or is she just another victim of Claudius's manipulations? Does she genuinely have Hamlet's interest at heart? Or would she be just as happy as Claudius to get Hamlet out of the picture so that she could enjoy her second marriage without being made to feel guilty all the time? If we're ever going to get any clue into these questions, and there's good reason to assume that we never will, a good place to look for it would be in good old scene 4 of Act 3, where Hamlet, for the first time in the play, gets to hash things out with his mom. The scene begins with Polonius sneaking behind the tapestry just as Hamlet enters the room. As has happened so many times before in the play, this very personal moment between Hamlet and his mom is being surveilled upon for a secret eavesdropping audience. Gertrude begins the scene by taking a maternalistic tone with Hamlet. Hamlet, thou has thy father much offended. Hamlet, as we saw earlier, believes in holding a mirror up to nature, so he reflects Gertrude's accusation with his own mirror-like perspective. Mother, you have my father much offended. Of course, Gertrude is talking about Claudius, while Hamlet shames her by insisting that his true and only father is his ghost dad. Gertrude quickly gets frustrated with his verbal banter and gets up to leave, but Hamlet grabs her and insists on holding a mirror up to Gertrude so that she can behold her own sinfulness. Gertrude suspects, for understandable reasons, that Hamlet might intend to kill her, and she cries out, which causes Polonius to cry out, which causes Hamlet to stab Polonius, his ex-girlfriend's father, through the tapestry, without knowing for sure who he's killing. He pretends to think it's Claudius, but he surely knows that he left Claudius pretending to pray at the end of the previous scene. Hamlet concedes that killing Polonius is a rash and bloody deed, but not as rash and bloody, he says, as what Gertrude has done, kill a king and marry his brother. Gertrude seems to be genuinely surprised by this revelation, suggesting that she didn't know that her current husband murdered her former husband. In the presence of Polonius's dead body, Hamlet and Gertrude's conversation grows more intense as Hamlet finds increasingly dramatic and malicious ways of characterizing what Gertrude has done. What she has done is such an act that defiles everything good and holy, that cloaks the entire universe with guilt and disease. Original Dad was so great, the greatest man that ever existed or could exist. Claudius, in contrast, is a deformed ogre. I thought older women were supposed to be rational enough to have outgrown sexual desire, but your actions show that no human being ever achieves wisdom or decency, that all people are beholden to the most demonic impulses imaginable: incest, lust, fratricide, hypocrisy, bestiality, depravity, degeneracy. Some commentators have suggested that Hamlet seems inappropriately fixated on his mother's sexual behavior. Throughout the 20th century, much Hamlet criticism was informed by Sigmund Freud's thesis that Hamlet is an archetypal emblem of what Freud called the Oedipus complex, the boy's desire to kill his father and sleep with his mother. There are, of course, an infinite number of ways to think about the relationship between Hamlet and Gertrude. But one of the things this scene makes me think about is Hamlet's similar rant to Ophelia 2 scenes ago. Throughout that scene, Hamlet seemed angry not so much with Ophelia herself, but with womanhood as it exists as an emblem of supposed beauty and purity. Ophelia fell short of Hamlet's philosophical expectations for the ideals that women are supposed to represent, and his loss of faith in her takes the form of a misogynistic repudiation of women altogether and everything they supposedly represent. His words to Gertrude convey a similar impression. Is Hamlet's dad really as great as Hamlet says he was? Probably not. Is Claudius so much infinitely worse? Probably not. But Hamlet is fixated on Gertrude's pivot from King Hamlet to Claudius as a symbol for a sense of cosmic despoilation that has befallen his reality, a sense that all innocence, beauty, and love have been eliminated from the cosmos. A lot of young people feel this way at one time or another, and they have a pretty consistent SOP of blaming their parents for the way they feel. While they are in the middle of this conversation, Hamlet's ghost dad reappears. The ghost seems to be annoyed that it's taking Hamlet so long to follow through on the revenge plot. Hamlet can see the ghost and talk to him, but even though he was visible to Horatio and the Watchmen in Act 1, Gertrude can't see the ghost, leading her to assume that Hamlet really is as mad as he is pretending to be. Hamlet, however, insists that he's not mad, and that Gertrude just wants to think that he's mad because that would allow her to discount the truth of the things he's telling her. By the end of the scene, it really does look like Hamlet has managed to inflict guilt on Gertrude, in the same way that his play sent Claudius off to go to pray. Maybe Hamlet's function in the play is to serve as a kind of living mirror of people's conscience, a personified reminder of the routine sinfulness that they spend most of their life trying to forget about. This, at least, is Hamlet's interpretation of his role in the play. As he drags Polonius's body away, he implies that he has punished Polonius for Polonius's sins, and now Polonius is going to punish Hamlet for Hamlet's sins, since he knows that murdering the king's favorite counselor is likely to meet with some form of punishment. Hamlet seems to make up with his mother, she seems to promise to resist Claudius's sexual advancements, and Hamlet promises to counter any moves that Claudius might make to eliminate him.